Welcome to the Balanced Consciousness Podcast, an assortment of enlightening conversations that inspire balance in your wellness of the mind, body, heart, and spirit. I'm your host, Jessica Taylor, and my intention is that with each episode, we open a channel of communication within our energetic systems, increasing our critical thinking, awareness, authenticity, sovereignty, and empowerment. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's dig in. Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jessica Taylor, and welcome to episode 1 of the Balanced Consciousness Podcast. Hello, world. I'm so excited to be doing this, and I wanted to make episode 1 just a little bit of an intro to show you who I am and what this is all about. What the heck is the Balanced Consciousness Podcast? Do we need another podcast? Do we really? It's going to be an assortment of enlightening conversations that are all going to be inspiring balance within the wellness of your mind, body, heart, and spirit. It's going to be super cash. I may add on more solo episodes as we go, but right now the intention behind it is to have super duper groovy conversations with people who really know what the hell they're talking about in regards to a specific aspect of our wellness. And I am really excited about the people who are going to be joining me on this journey. The mission is to empower you, to empower me, to empower us as the collective. We have so much more power than we think. And if we constantly can remind ourselves of that power and of the tools that we can give ourselves on our journey, whether it's meditation, to fitness, to somatic movement, to healing our subconscious, to energy healing, to unlocking our intuitive abilities, to just learning more about medicine, whether Western or Eastern, and how that's going to prove useful to us in certain aspects of our ease or disease. If we can find this power, we can just absolutely not only be unstoppable on our journeys, but we can be able to move through life in a more grounded and loving way, hopefully. That's my hope. All right. So I wanted to just start by giving a little bit about myself. Who the heck am I? Well, whenever people would say, Jess, what do you do? Honestly, I used to feel like a total asshole because I have so many different backgrounds and skill sets at this point that I had no way of introducing myself without sounding like I was, listing out this long list of credentials. And even as I was saying it, even though it was true, it was just like, blech, as I said it. And that is also work that I've had to do internally as well. But I digress. I have now finally been able to bring all of my skill sets into one title that I think is all encompassing and also just sparks curiosity so that if people do want to know more, they have the permission to ask. So I call myself an integrative healing guide. My background, way background, is in dance. I was a modern dancer, contemporary dance. And that was a beautiful and healing thing. And it was also a huge thing that drove me to heal. Amazing part of my life. But because of that, I've always really been connected to the body, to movement. And as I was going through all of my dance training before I entered the professional world, I also went into massage therapy, another thing that really started to grow that awareness that I'm such a nerd when it comes to anatomy and how the body works. And these were all things that in my mind back then were really fueling my dance journey. I was just adding on all these little things to supplement my career, my future career. That was the goal back then. So massage therapy, through that, I also started my energy healing journey, and I got my Reiki level 1 and 2. At this time, I was 19, 20, 21. And by the time I was 22, I had, kind of the foundational comprehensive things of that under my belt as I entered into the world as a professional dancer. Moved to New York City, very highly stimulating place to live. For some people, not for everyone. I definitely was not a lifer. Through that journey, I then entered the world of fitness, and I am so incredibly grateful that I discovered Pilates specifically. That is my huge main background in terms of fitness. I'm big on rehabilitative work, stabilizing, feeling strong. How does it feel in our body? Are we able to find more balance in that? So I just continued to add on more tools to my tool belt in terms of that. Now, again, back then, the mindset was, I'm doing this so that I can make a paycheck, so that I can be a dancer / choreographer, which is what I ultimately became. And man, my 20s were the time to spend in New York City. What an amazing time to test your limits of your energetic resources and other resources for that matter. I started a nonprofit dance company in 2010. I was 25 years old, and I dove in, and we toured, and we created, and we cried, and we grew, and we struggled, and we were challenged in so many different ways. And I would never have traded that experience in for the world. I did it for a creative purpose. But all the while, I was realizing I was learning how to run businesses. I was learning how to write grants, how to ask for donations, all these things that, had to fuel my creativity. So New York, like I said, was not my lifer city. And around 2015, I decided to move to Denver, Colorado. The mountains were really calling to me. And I shifted to Colorado, and I started to do the same things that I was doing before. And it served for a while. And then I started to realize that I wanted to shift into my healing work a lot more. And what I really have discovered in my own internal journey, and I'll be talking so much about self-love because that's my main focus in the work that I do with myself and with my clients, is that even when I was focusing on dance, and even when my conscious level of, I want to be a choreographer, I want to get that next commission, I want to get that next gig, was in the forefront of my mind, what my subconscious was really doing was continuing to try to serve people. The root part of me is to help others, period. It's always been to hold space for others, to help them to grow. So even in my dance company, as hard as my movement was, as challenging as I made it for people, the mission of the company was to embrace our imperfections and was to see them as opportunities for growth. And the amazing growth that I saw in the dancers that I worked with was just profound. And so, like I said, this was like a deep, my higher self, whatever you want to call it, my subconscious was like, this is what you were meant to do. And at that moment, that was the outlet in which it was mostly influenced through. So fast forward, let's go all the way to the pandemic. At that point, I had started a fitness and wellness studio called The Ground in Denver. We're still there in Greenwood Village. And like many other fitness pros or other professionals of all kinds, the pandemic hit us in a really interesting way, and we were forced to be creative. And luckily, we did well. We went virtual. We realized that our clients really appreciated what we do. And everything we do is about longevity, and it's about sustainability within our bodies, and it's about connection and communication, and not just do I feel the burn, and it was in this moment, in this lockdown moment, that I realized, wow, what we're doing is really helping people. So what that did for me, which was a beautiful thing, I had a bit of a spiritual awakening, like many of us did, when we were in lockdown. And all of a sudden, my student came out again, and I wanted to put that student hat on. And I got really excited about learning more things and growing and being a more loving person in the work that I did, and always showing up with kindness. How can I be better? How can I be better in this world that can seem absolutely insane, chaotic, crazy, and in so much pain and fear at times? So I started to dig into meditation much more, the scary M word. We're going to talk about meditation a lot in many episodes, and how it shouldn't be so scary because it's all encompassing in many things. I ended up going into education for myself. I went into my own meditative practice, and I realized I really wanted to help facilitate it as well. So I am now a meditation practitioner. I facilitate that as well as breath work. And I just started to go, wow, okay, more skill sets, more things to add on. How do I show up for people and be able to appropriately bring all of these skill sets to the table? And I realized, especially in this lockdown time and during the pandemic, and with everyone going through so many, dark nights of the soul, and, challenges with family dynamics, political views, issues surrounding freedom. I mean, we just had so many things go on, and I saw relationships being torn apart and some growing stronger. And I just really got into talking one-on-one with people. With all the people in my circle, I attempted to reconnect with people that I hadn't spoken with in a really long time. And this sparked something within me. I realized I love digging one-on-one. But I decided a long time ago that I did not want to go into psychology and formal therapy. So my next step in my studential journey was to become an integrative wellness and life coach. So this is why I am now an integrative healing guide, because as a coach, and sometimes I don't like to use that word, I really like the word guide or buddy, whatever you want to call it. I think the word coach, and again, I'm going to say this podcast is going to be super cash. So, I hope you're okay with tangents, because this stuff happens with me. I think the word coach is appropriate on some level, because unlike a therapist, a coach is really helping you to find that momentum to move forward. Let's find action steps. How are we gonna, move away from this problem, gain momentum, find that growth, right? We're not necessarily, and while I do more internal inside out work with my clients as well, let's dig into where is that coming from. It's not as much of a let's unearth things, right? It's a how can we move forward? We have perspective shifts, but it's always about forward movement. So that's why I think in some ways the word coach is really appropriate when it comes to that. At the same time, and maybe this is me, and I don't know if there's other professional dancers watching this, or, athletes, or, veterans, or anyone who has been in an environment where they were ordered. They're really ordered. Do this, do that. Some of us thrive on that. Some of us also might be triggered by that. And so I don't know, that's just an idea that just came up into my head right now. Uh, as always, you can, I post this on YouTube as well. You can let me know in the comments, or feel free to, email me at balancedconsciousness@gmail.com. Let me know your thoughts on the word coach. How does that make you feel? Because there's a lot of coaches out there right now, a lot, just like there's a lot of podcasts. Anyway, I digress. I'm an integrative healing guide. What I like is that I now have a safe and open container to be one-on-one with someone, or to be within a group where I can bring all of these skill sets to the table and it just flows. It's just dynamic. It's organic. It's there's no question on my side of, ooh, is this appropriate for me to bring out? I'm in a Pilates session and now I'm talking about Reiki, or now I'm talking about spirituality or whatever. So that's a little bit about who I am. Now, through my own journey, I have really brought a foundational element to my work that always comes back to the root of self-love. And I will most likely do some solo episodes on self-love in general, because this is a term that's thrown around a lot. And specifically, I am working currently on the concept of radical self-love. And what the hell does that mean, right? The reason why I use that word is basically to get your attention. I'm not going to, dance around that one. It's to get your attention. But it's also to show us that the concept of self-love is not the norm in our society. Unfortunately, we've really been programmed. We've really been conditioned. We've really, learned from our environment and the people around us that self-love is not the norm, and it could be selfish, right? Or it could be something that makes it so that we're not considerate of others. But just the simple fact that it's not the norm, to me, makes it radical, because what we do when we decide to take that really empowering act of starting a self-love journey and practice, what we are doing is that we are making a rebellious act. We are taking a rebellious act against the world, against this conditioning, against this culture, media, society, whoever has been telling us that that's not okay to love ourselves. And what the heck does loving yourself even mean? Okay, this is like the juicy stuff that I love to work with. And I'm just really getting into the, surface level, superficial stuff with it now, but just to give you an idea of who I am and what I do. So my love is self-love. My passion is helping people to feel empowered to love themselves, and to, in the process, feel the balance of self-love. Not that it is a sacrifice of loving other things in your life, but in fact, it is something that will fuel everything else in your life. The more that you have a healthy self-love journey, the healthier relationships that you're going to have, the healthier your work-life balance will be, the healthier your relationship with your fitness regimen will be, your career, any relationship that you can think of. If you go back to this radical, rebellious self-love act and practice, it will flourish within your life. So that's a bit about what I do. Now, we are going to have just some absolutely amazing guests. I'm so excited about this. And before I talk about that, I just want to have a little bit of a vulnerable moment with you here, because I've been in some sort of health and wellness industry for about 15 years now. 15 years is about right, between everything that I've done. And I have a lot of knowledge, and I no, I feel confident in my ability to help people. And I have wanted to do a podcast now for years, and yet haven't been doing it. With all the knowledge that I've had and the experience that I've had and, XYZ, there was still this voice inside me that kept going, who are you to do a podcast? Who the hell are you? There's millions of podcasts out there right now, and they're big names and they have huge followings. And who the heck are you to do that? And I realized that it wasn't my ability and my skill set that was holding me back. It was this cultural programming that we have now of you need to have a big following and then you have an audience. Start your podcast. But I ended up getting just a few weeks ago, I decided to do this quite recently. I ended up having a download, and I got this download of information that was just like, what the hell are you waiting for? You have been thinking about this for a long time. You want to have the conversations. And the question was, why do you want to do it? Well, I want to do it because I want to help people. I know a whole lot of people who have amazing information, perspectives, energy, knowledge, tools, and I want other people to hear what they have to say. And I self-lovingly, because I'm trying not to say selfishly, want to have these conversations with them. I want to dig deep and have conversations. The intention is to open up a channel for us, open up a channel of communication between us and our bodies, us and our minds, us and our hearts, us and our spirits. Are we even talking to these things? Are we even checking in with them? Is there more that we can know? Are we exercising the skill of critical thinking if we are checking in with our body? Or if we are seeing something, that someone's saying or on the news or whatever, are we exercising these thoughts of, does that resonate with me? Does that feel in alignment with me? So the intention behind this is to have awesome conversations that will hopefully help to open up some sort of channel for you. That's my hope. And I already know that they're going to open up tons of channels for me. So I am so excited to start this with you. And you're going to be able to find this on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and I've decided to also post the podcast with video as well on YouTube. So feel free to check all of those out so that you can, stay in touch and communicate with me as well, especially through the YouTube with the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on all these things. So because we're just getting started, thank you so much for joining, and make sure that you share this with someone who you think that it would be helpful with. And let's talk a little bit about upcoming episodes. So episode 2 will be our first guest groovy chat, and it's going to be with the amazing Jordan Baldwin. She's the co-founder of Kalo Fitness, which is based in Denver. And she is a student of life. We all should strive to be students of life, but Jordan is embodying that phrase, that term. She is incredibly inspiring in terms of how much she is just wanting to soak in And, she's quite the sponge. And I don't want to speak too much more because I want her to really share her story in her own way. And I'm really excited about you hearing from her and the journey that she's been on and all of the different things that she has learned and her mission in helping humanity, specifically women, um, in terms of their wellness, their relationship with their body, and their relationship with fitness in general. And that's like just the tip of the iceberg. So I plan on releasing each of these groovy chats once a month. I plan on the first Wednesday of each month. So you can prep for Jordan Baldwin, episode 2. The first Wednesday of April. I will shoot to get them out early in the morning. And I am just super stoked, guys. I'm super, super stoked. So, but for now, just enjoy the conversations, enjoy the downloading of codes that you're going to get, the spiritual awakenings that may come from just tapping into your bodies and your hearts and your minds and your spirits that much more. And I wish you an incredibly balanced rest of your day and honor you in everything that you are. And I appreciate you all so much. And bye for now. Thank you.